rising to a high point. The total market value of listed companies in the Shanghai and Shenzhen stock markets has experienced a efficient growth, reaching trillion yuan, of which the market value of A shares is trillion yuan, becoming the largest emerging market and the fourth largest securities market in the world. The securitization rate of China's economy has continuously crossed the threshold of percent from percent a year ago, which is comparable to the level of the international mature market. A number of aircraft carriers, such as PetroChina, China Shenhua, China Co-Construction Bank, China Railway Group Limited, have achieved securitization through the issuance of new shares through IPO. A number of central armies, such as China Shipbuilding, Xi'an Aircraft International and Dongfeng Electric Machinery, have realized securitization through overall listing. A large number of national team companies such as NFC, CNOOC Haisheng and Huadian Energy have realized securitization through monetary economy based on credit. But with the increasing growth of financial derivatives, credit has gradually been hijacked by a group of people who love to tell stories and lack integrity, leading to the most abusive use of credit in financial civilization. The most lacking aspect is integrity. The reason why the subprime crisis triggered a run on banks was not that creditors did not believe in the strength of financial institutions, but that they did not believe that other creditors would believe in the short-term nature of the bank's crisis and would make rational choices to support each other. On the other hand, although the financial crisis is not driven by morality, it will ultimately change morality. If agricultural civilization is shortage economy through the 3 cardinals and 5 constants to curb human desires, industrial civilization is an excess economy that tempts and indulges human desires through advertising culture. The financial civilization is an economic bubble, forging yin and yang people by telling stories. Many overseas hedge funds with illiquid financial derivatives often artificially manipulate prices and go to investors to solicit credit, even offering bonuses for their good performance. At the beginning of this year, while major international investment banks were singing short of China, they were building positions and applying to increase their QFII quota on a large scale. But none of them fell, demonstrating their yin and yang nature undoubtedly. In fact, all financial market participants, including managers, are determined by their interests, and Greenspan is no exception. If he were still the chairman of the Federal Reserve, believing that the subprime crisis would not be avoided, could he still find answers for irrationality? Following closely the United Kingdom and the United States, financial civilization began to strike the Chinese coast. Consistent with the rapid development of China's economy to this end, China's capital market seems to have matured overnight. In more than a year, the securitization rate has rapidly reached percent. Obviously, there is no acclimatization of financial civilization in China, and the most suitable terrorist prospect for Chinese financial civilization lies in the national character itself first. Smart and flexible, China has always had the tradition of eastward spread of Western learning has spread to the East, and foreign things are used in China. Having suffered from the loss of financial giants in storytelling, they quickly changed their minds to become masters of their own. For example, among a share-listed companies, the increase in issuance is ostensibly aimed at improving their operating ability and strengthening their main business. But in fact, there are not a few people who use the money they have raised to speculate in new shares. In the process of promoting marketization, administrative monopoly has also been strengthened, which is precisely the expression and is accustomed to using the laws of industrial civilization and information civilization to explain, study and judge financial problems. The development of the securities market according to geometric series conforms to the laws of financial civilization, but meets the logic of industrial civilization regulation and intervention according to the development of arithmetic progression. The so-called P/E ratio, securitization rate and valuation model in the inherent knowledge system have been repeatedly denied by the market, but they are still regarded as the 四无苏 being conservative towards traditional knowledge and unable to understand the arrival of a new civilization may result in schizophrenia. Integrating and responding to the four civilizations in a timely manner will lead to a winner-take-all in the market. Future society will be people-oriented, and meeting people's various emotional needs will become the source of new business opportunities. Neil Pinker proposed in New Thinking that the 6 senses that the right brain era should possess include a sense of design, storytelling, symphony, empathy, entertainment, and exploration of meaning. And business opportunities lie in the experience of these 6 or even more emotional needs, such as doctors using laughter, yoga, entertainment to heal patients, transforming old factories into modern office spaces with a sense of design, the opening of the cube era empathy of high school, university, white-collar SNS social network services on the campus network will undoubtedly bring about the reconstruction of industrial boundaries, leading to the emergence of a large number of new industries and former TOS. On the other hand, whether it's the older generation who thinks with the left brain or the new generation who thinks with the right brain, in this comprehensive integration in the era of unity, whoever can represent the interests of the greatest majority will ultimately win. Deng Xiaoping adhered to the 4 cardinal principles, turning right to carry out reform, opening up and marketization, and took the middle path of giving priority to efficiency and giving consideration to fairness, so that China got rid of the ideological struggle and rose rapidly, relying on economic development. The same applies to business opportunities. Whoever can combine left brain and right brain can free from constraints and allow various elements to fuse and collide under the catalysis of creativity and imagination so that they are no longer just looking for business opportunities, but creating them. The left and right brain connection may open up business opportunities from three aspects. One is the application of new technologies in the wave of wisdom, ecological civilization, financial civilization, etc. under the impact of various right-brainization approaches. It will upgrade at a faster pace and become a carrier for generating business opportunities. Secondly, various countries may show their respective skills in seizing the commanding heights of wisdom. For example, the United States has already launched ERIC plan to study wisdom. And there are still people in China who want to build smart banks. This trend will make people pay more attention to balancing left and right, and various alternative ideas such as whether software can be downloaded and memorized in the future will bring new business opportunities and sparks. Thirdly, for most enterprises, it is difficult to achieve a left and right brain connection. So it may be the norm to be forced to upgrade the version due to being dragged by the situation. A small number of enterprises with unique thinking will unleash their creative imagination, see through changes in the situation, grasp policy trends, and quickly occupy techno. The financial crisis has not yet bottomed out, but no one mentions currency wars anymore, as they are considered war dollars in the book The Murderous and behind-the-scenes Wall Street tycoons died before they got out, while most of the survivors sold themselves to the government, were denationalized, and even did transsexual surgery to return to the bank to survive. The expected market of painful shearing by the crisis did not happen, which made people obsessed with explaining the financial crisis with conspiracy theory very frustrated. Did investment banks die of mass suicide? Just as currency war itself is a specious rumor strung together with bizarre conspiracies, even such a book is rumored to be a copycat version because the original version comes from the United States. However, the views in the book perfectly match the needs of those who have suffered heavy losses due to misjudgment of the situation, as dressing themselves as victims of uncertainty is more likely to gain sympathy. Therefore, as soon as this book was published, it was highly sought after and appeared at high-level financial seminars, serving as a shield against pressure. However, with the passage of time, the currency war has no effect on the overall situation, and it is still not eloquent enough to be used for casual conversation after meals. The essence of the financial crisis is money surplus, but in the conspiracy theory, money can be controlled unilaterally and completely. The six major families behind the US government and the Federal Reserve control the situation, using cunning tactics to influence currency flows and earn large amounts of money, in order to achieve their goals by killing people and de-Buddha. However, the most fatal flaw of this logic is that the government and the six major families do not have the control they expected. They may have controlled the currency within the banking system. Once the currency flows out, it is not only difficult to track but also repeatedly transforms into capital and hot money. What is even more terrifying is that during this process the scale of the currency continues to expand. The expansion ability continues to improve, and speculative models are extensively replicated, creating a vast amount of money book assets or liabilities registered on the balance sheets of financial institutions are in reality dependent on the price of resources and assets. The contradiction between the leveraged expansion of monetary capital and the limitation of the price rise of assets and resources will automatically close positions under the law of value. Obviously, this is the original sin of self-expansion and self-evaporation in finance. So on the one hand, the runaway of currency falsify the possibility of a holistic and long-term monetary conspiracy. On the other hand, the automatic liquidation of currency has falsified the possibility of a century-long and shocking conspiracy. Of people be respected. Of course, it is not than being a broad concept. The difficulty of transforming this concept lies in encountering the resistance of traditional ideology and the covert boycott of vested interest groups. Another prerequisite is the upgrade of the governance concept, that is, the upgrade of the version of making decisions for the people, which is undertaken by everyone, upgrading from limited liability to a limited and bounded management model that leads social rules and maintains their fair execution. Previously, the direct participation of the state in the operation and operation of the economy inevitably led to self-interest, resulting in impure motives for the state. However, when the state is above economic interests and only serves as the creator and maintainer of the system, the transformation of its role creates a natural demand for the principles of fairness and justice. The controversial labor contract law, to some extent, is a manifestation of the shift in national motivation from favoring enterprises to providing universal coverage for the interests of workers. It is a transition from a focus on efficiency first to a balance between fairness. Despite its poor timing, it is still a landmark milestone, because the more a few people resist, the more they can reflect that it actually represents the interests of the majority and touches the pain points of interest groups. At present, it is the Ministry of Power that undermines the principles of fairness and justice, distorts the state's motives seriously, and causes even greater public discontent. The phenomenon of door-oriented, departmental interest-oriented, and interest group-oriented. Many authorities use the name of the state to harm the people and enrich the private sector, and practice monopoly under the guise of maintaining fairness and justice. This distorts the essence and core of the national political system, which means that the state represents the interests of the entire society and the nation, and implements its representation through various state machines. However, in reality, various state machines become representatives of the state and fulfill the interests of their own departments in the process of representation. This deviation is the source of social contradictions at this stage. The real reason for the large-scale mass incident in Wengan County, Guangzhou, is that the government has repeatedly violated the interests of the masses in mineral resources development, resettlement, building demolition and other work, and in the process of handling conflicts, disputes and mass incidents. Some cadres have a rough style, simple working methods and random use of police force. Although the stock market was in a mess in the first half of the year, there were still over billion yuan in stamp duty receipts, and local state-owned asset management commissions are still preparing to queue up local state-owned enterprises. The usefulness of commodities to human beings proposes utility value and reveals various needs in human nature. Bentham's utilitarianism, marginal schools utility theory, Dewey's pragmatism. Due to significant differences in understanding industrial civilization, it has been in constant conflict since its inception, until the Cold War in the second half of the 20th century. Industrial civilization has gone through hundreds of years, and its laws have been effective in 100 years. Marx's Das Kapital, Marshall's Economics, and Keynes' general theory of employment, interest and money are classics, and indeed guide the socio-economic operation. In the mid to late 20th century, with the popularization of computers and the Internet, information civilization entered human society. The characteristic of information civilization is that the spread of social induction and information transmission is very fast, greatly changing the original production and lifestyle. For example, computers have changed traditional manufacturing technology and production processes, and the Internet has changed people's consumption and communication methods. Toffler once provided a phenomenal description of information civilization but did not touch upon the fundamental principles. The general equivalent of information civilization is information. Wherever there are many concepts, money flows there and wealth is generated. The new economy that originated in the S is a concentrated manifestation of information civilization, with NASDAQ being a representative of information civilization, and a large number of digital heroes becoming beneficiaries of information civilization. It has only been 30 years since the emergence of information civilization, during which there have been countless changes. Moreover, the philosophical foundation of information civilization is the principle of uncertainty, which makes it difficult to summarize unchanging laws. Therefore, in recent decades, it has been difficult to come up with grand works that have taken decades. From the above civilization process, it can be seen that the evolution of civilization is accelerating, from thousands, hundreds of years to decades year. Nowadays, there are many phenomena in the social economy that are different from the forms of civilization in the past, and various phenomena cannot be explained by past knowledge. The financial industry is playing an increasingly important role in some countries, surpassing the functions of any single industry. For example, the amount of tax paid by the high earners in the City of London has accounted for a quarter of the income tax income of the whole UK, and a quarter of the UK corporate tax also comes from this region, which is generally the case for Wall Street in the United States. Once China's securities industry was launched, it developed with the thunderous momentum. In just over a decade, the stock market value increased by over